Hello everybody and welcome back to Chrissy and Nath Keeping It Real. Hope you're keeping clean, hope you're keeping clean. If you're staying safe. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you've returned, thank you. The past couple of weeks have been a lot of stuff. So much has happened in the world. It's crazy. For anyone that is sort of struggling at the moment, that is starting to feel down, I just want to give you a word of encouragement. You've got this. Sometimes just take a break from the social media, go outside for a walk. Not every day taking bad content, you know? As a form of light entertainment, I thought what I do today is share my worst date story. I mean, it makes me laugh every time I think about it, and hopefully it will make you laugh as well. I think it's worth me saying that when this happened, I was much younger. I would have been about 17, 18, so I was much younger. Just, you know, summer's evening, I'm at a barbecue with my friend and just having a good time, eating chicken, little Jack Daniels. Just having a good old time, you know, in our, what did we even, that wasn't pedal pushers, what do people wear then? Whatever people wore in those times, that's what we were wearing. The barbecue was more like a block party type of situation. So you had loads of people just out in their cars, have like barbecuing on the green, just like a social kind of community event, if you will. My friend and I are standing there and these two guys drive by. They've got like their windows down, the roof is off, the sound system up with the top down. Got the city on lockdown. Drive by in a no ride, hands high on the front. Yeah, using, having a good old time. And they're like, you right, what's up? Oh, honey. They were good looking guys. We felt like we were cute that day, like passing each other looks, you know, over the evening across the grass. Just as they were leaving, they came up to us and they were like, oh, hey, can I get your number? So we give them our number. Let's call him Bob. Let's just call him Bob. I give Bob my number, and for maybe like the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're BBM messaging. Nothing too serious. 2 or 3 weeks pass and we're messaging back and forth, and he says he wants to take me on a date. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, what do you have in mind? He said, why don't you come over and I'll make you some pasta? First of all,
never feed the bird as pasta.
Let's start there. I said, no, I've known you for 2 or 3 weeks. The first time I come and meet you is absolutely not going to be inside your house. I need there to be witnesses. I need there to be CCTV. I need somebody to be able to hear me scream if you turn out to be an axe murderer and you're cutting my head off, you know? After a while, he gives up with the whole come to my house thing because he realized that's not going to happen. And he says he's going to plan a night out for us. So he says, meet me in, I think it's Piccadilly Circus. Fine. So the day comes, we meet, and you know, he's like, hi, you're right, yeah, how are you? You look nice, thanks. You're right, yeah, cool, small talk. I ask him what we're doing, and he says, it's a surprise. I'm thinking, oh, this is cute. I wonder what he's got in store for us. We're just walking together and we get to Trocadero. I think, oh, okay, cool, this is cute. I would much rather go on an active date than, you know, sit in the cinema in silence. So I was thinking this is a good start, something we can do, we can talk about, and I'm gonna beat you. We go inside and we get to the thing, the coin changer thing. So we go inside and we get to that where you put the notes and the tokens come out, or I can't remember what that thing's called, but you know what I'm talking about. He opens his wallet and he's got a £10 note in there. He kind of pauses and I'm thinking, is everything okay? He's like, yeah, it's fine.
Or you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Okay. He puts the cash in, you know, the £10 note in, and he gets the chips out. First game we play is like a bumper card type thing. That was great. We played one game. Once that game's over, I say, you know, that was cool. What do you want to do next? He decides that we should play whack-a-mole. So we go to the whack-a-mole table, and he has just enough credits for one of us to play, not a double game. So he says, you know, you go ahead. I don't like this game anyway. Bearing in mind, he was the one that chose it. Okay. Fine, what do you want to do now? He says, I'm bored, let's go. At this point, we'd been there for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour at an absolute stretch, but I really don't think it was that long. So I'm quite confused, like, okay, cool. We leave Trocadero, then he asked me if I'm hungry. I was like, yeah, you know, I could eat. I say, you know, what do you fancy? He says, you decide. So we passed a TGI. He said no. Chiquitos, we passed that. We passed like Pizza Express, an Italian place, another like Italian spaghetti place, and all these things he was saying no to. Okay. Walking down the road and we passed a KFC. He says, how about this? Looking at him like, this is really happening. I agree, because you know what? I like chicken. Standing in the queue and we're making just really awkward chit chat. He just did not come across as the same person that he was when I first met him, or you know, like when we'd been messaging or speaking on the phone. Albeit slowly, the queue is moving and it now gets to the point where there's just one person in front of us. So he turns to me and says, I'll be back in a minute, I've got to go make an important phone call. I said, okay, sir, just go. The person in front of me orders their food and moves on. So I get to the front, he's nowhere to be seen. So I order my meal, take it, sit down. I had ordered a meal that came with, I think, maybe like 2 pieces of chicken, 2 wings, fries and a drink. I sit down, I start eating my food. And he comes back in, miraculously, just as I sit down. We carry on talking and the conversation sort of flows a bit more now at this point. All right. I say, are you not gonna get anything? He says, no, I'm not hungry.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God, stop fucking lying.
Now, 2 and 2 is really making 22. I start to figure out what's going on here. Why I suggest we go and eat if you're not hungry. Looks down at the table, looks at me. Looks down at the table, looks at me. Looks down at the table, looks at me. I already know where this is going. He says, can I have a chip, please? Go ahead. I don't really like KFC chips anyway. Can I have another chip, please? Go ahead. And he says, can I have a wing, please? That's bold. Have the wing. Now he's just eating from my chips and he's got the wing in his hand. As he finishes his wing, we're sitting there talking. He finished his wing, he's eating from my chips. My blood is boiling at this point because no, this isn't a communal dinner. I'm really trying to keep my frustration, irritation, and actual anger at bay. And then he reaches for my drink and just takes like a big, like, I hadn't even had any. That was what was even more infuriating about that. He was a person that took the wrapper off the straw, put the straw in. The absolute final straw is when he bold-faced looked me in my eye and said, can I have that chicken, please? I honestly just pushed the whole tray towards him like that. Like, you can actually just have it. I don't even want it anymore. I didn't even say anything. I just pushed the tray to him. How dare you? Why would you? We'll get to that point in a minute. He sits there and he actually finishes the whole meal. So the piece of chicken that I had started eating, his piece of chicken, pretty much all the fries and 1 wing and all of my drink. As much as I wanted to walk out there and there, I thought, let me act like I have manners, home training and decency. I waited for him to finish. We get outside and he's like, you know, I had a great time. I'd love to see you again. Were we on the same date? Because there's no way that you would honestly think that this was successful. And if you do, I'm concerned. Before I was even able to formulate the rejection, someone, a couple meters down the road, starts calling his name. Bob! 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 And you can see immediately in his face, he's like, ah, shit. These 3 or 4 guys come walking up to us and they're like, yo, what are you saying? You're right, yeah? It's like, yeah, I'm cool. He's looking very uncomfortable, very shifty. And then as I'm thinking that, the guy's like, I've been calling you for the past however many days, why haven't you answered your phone? He was like, oh, I've just been like crazy busy, it's been a bit mad. This whole situation sounds very uncomfortable. And I'm looking at, like, we're all just standing here looking at each other. The guy then realizes that he's on a date. Before this point, actually, he was like, are you in my jumper? I've been asking you for my jumper back for time. Then he said, "Are you on a date?" So now I'm just like, this is terrible. And the sad thing is, this whole situation wasn't even about the jumper he happened to be wearing. It was a Lyland Scott one, lol. It was because he owed him money. What are we doing here, sir? You came out of the house on a date with £10 to your name, and now you're being run down in the street because you're wearing somebody else's clothes and you also owe them money.
I just have to go in the bush and weep, really.
I start walking away at this point because I'm like, this has got nothing to do with me. I don't want no parts in this. I gotta go. I start walking away and he's saying to his mates, you know what, I'll deal with this later, I'll call you. And he's like, yo, wait. He catches up to me and then he says, he then says to me, could you please loan me £10? Because my car broke down on the way here. I had to get the tube the rest of the way. So I need £10, £5 to buy the Tetra can, and then £5 to put £5 worth of petrol in there. No, this is bad. I gave him the £10 because I felt really bad for him. But also, what on earth were you doing? Like, huh? As if it didn't end there, he then said to me, this has been a great night. I've had a really great time. You know, I'd love to see you again. I just said to him, honestly, I just don't feel like dating should be your priority right now. After that, he actually did try to get me to go on another date with him. And I just said, I really feel like your energies would be, you know, better used elsewhere, you know? Maybe dating shouldn't be a priority of yours right now, sir. Even after that, he still tried to get me to come to his house. I said, no, you could be a murderer. I don't know anything about you. And she never spoke to him again. And eventually he stopped messaging me. But I just thought, the absolute cheek. How dare you? I was left really confused for quite a while, just how anybody could think that was a good date and why I would want to meet him ever again. My irritation, confusion wasn't even the fact that he didn't have money. Why are you trying to live above your means, sir? If you don't have the money to date, don't go on dates. It's quite simple. If you can't get home, don't go. I really hope wherever he is doing well. I don't even know if I'd be able to recognise him if I saw him in the street, to be quite honest. Hopefully he's somewhere doing well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I was able to put even the smallest of smiles on your faces. If you enjoyed, please click the like button. We'd love you to subscribe as well. And also follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Our handles are in the thing somewhere. We would love to hear some of your horrible date stories as well. Keep safe and we will see you next week.